Good morning to all my fans and all the subscribers at Prince's Seed channel. Today is the 21st of February 2025. This is Prince's Seed channel, the channel with legitimacy of updates, regular information. We deal with cryptocurrencies, we deal with grand matters and other financial affairs that could earn you financial freedom. The matter of concern that I want to drop as a submission this morning is very crucial and at the same time vital. And I want you to pay careful attention to this, as this could, in one way or the other, change your perception towards this expectation. In fact, if you don't understand what submission is dropped for you this morning pertaining to your expectation, you might grow weary from here. You might grow tired from here, rather than having understanding of where we are into and what is expected of you. So please, I urge you as a person to grab a seat, stay courteous, listen diligently, and harvest everything that is vital from this submission. I'm going to be with you shortly, just in a moment. Don't touch the door. Thank you. I want to believe that you're ready for this, and I will be addressing the fact of a tagline that is bordering on the importance of proper grant documentation and the consequences of non-compliance. The importance of proper grant documentation and the consequences of non-compliance with this documentation. Now, grants, especially those that are being issued by foreign governments or donor agencies, they come with very strict regulations and documentation requirements to either ensure transparency, accountability, and proper use of funds. So when grants are not handled with the necessary paperwork, the consequences can be severe for both the grant handlers and the beneficiaries alike, including you that is listening to me right now. And at this stage, many are anxious, just we know, wondering why the disbursement process has not been completed up till now, even after multiple assurances from past handlers. However, patience is required, because rushing a grant without meeting the donor country's requirements can result in serious setbacks. Apostle Ken Nwakama has not spoken yet, and his silence signifies that things are still being put in place to ensure the proper and lawful disbursement of funds. Now listen to me carefully. The consequences of disbursing grants without proper documentation. Number one, you face the risk of legal ramifications. The risk of legal ramifications. Violation of international financial laws. Grants that originate from international donors, I want you to know, or governments, they are subject to strict financial compliance laws. If the money is disbursed without meeting all documentation requirements, it could trigger legal actions from donor countries, from financial regulators, or even international oversight bodies like the Financial Action Task Forces, the FATF. Then you also risk lawsuits and sanctions. I just want to place things bare as they are so that you can see these things from the other perspective and not just from your own side. There has to be a balancing, all right? There would be a risk of lawsuits, a risk of sanctions. Governments or regulatory bodies could step in and take legal action against the fund managers or organizations that are involved. So a lack of proper documentation can result in allegations of money laundering, in financial misconduct, in illegal transactions, and these will lead to lawsuits. It will be filed against the body. Then there is another risk of the suspension of future grants. I want to believe that we should agree that we are not ending cycle on grants once UAAG has been disbursed. There was a voice note, I beg your pardon just a minute. There was a voice note that was dropped by Madam Jennifer Isaac a couple of months ago, possibly years now, that says once you receive UAAG grant, pack your bag and leave the grant community. I remember there was a time she dropped something like that. But you see, if things are done properly, this grant community should be a place of blessing for us. I'm telling you the truth. Where we can always come to and subscribe for grants. And we hope to see that things are done properly and grant is released for everyone that is needy, if things are fine-tuned and done properly. And I want to believe part of what is happening right now is to set the record straight so that the grant community will not be as it used to be, where anybody comes, takes in fund, runs away, elopes with the money. We don't know what happens to the grant handler. We don't even know what happens to the expectant beneficiaries. That has been for a long time, but the narrative is being corrected. So I want us to agree that this grant community ecosystem is a large one at that. Should be a place where one grant is disbursed, we expect another one. You understand? Future grants are coming. So this is not just the end of grant submission or the end of grant receival in the country. UAAG disbursement is setting the pace for other future grants. But if things are not done according to order or legal perspective, you face the suspension of future grants. If the donor organizations detect there are irregularities in the disbursement processes, they might blacklist the organization or the country from receiving future grants. And definitely this would negatively impact not only this particular grant that we're in expectation of, but also potential future funding opportunities for other projects. So it is not just about you alone. That is the perspective. I want you to watch this very closely. It's not just about you or what you want. It's about the process. It's about the record that needs to be set straight. And you should be part of this record setting. You should be part of it. Then if things are not done according to order, another consequence is that there would be increased risk of fraud and misappropriation of funds. When funds are released without proper documentation, it will become difficult to track their use. It can lead to corruption. It would lead to mismanagement and even theft of the funds before they reach the intended beneficiaries. These have been ongoing in grant ecosystem over time. It has been the ordeal, right from SEM to Terpicom to Golden Bridge to the rest of them like that. There are so many. There are so many. There is one called, OSIA. There's one called MTN Grant. A lot of them like that came to just swindle Nigerians of their hard-earned money until UAAG landed. And we say, no, the narrative must change. It won't be like others. So it's like they grab the shirt of this one and say, this one will not go like others went. Theobald came before UAAG before we understood that the real mandate owner is Sanctuary Wealth. You see? And it was almost happening at the advent of Theobald also, until it came to UAG and people held it by force and said, no, I will never let you go unless you bless me. So in cases where documentation is missing, dishonest individuals would take advantage of the situation by diverting the money for personal gain, personal use, leaving legitimate recipients without financial support. That's what happens. That's what has been happening over time. That's what they wanted to happen now. Then, thirdly, there would be loss of credibility and trust. One of the biggest consequences of undocumented grant disbursement is the loss of trust from both the beneficiaries and the donor agencies. If the disbursement process is rushed without following the proper procedures, the reputation of the organization handling the funds can be permanently damaged. You need to just hear that. Let that sink in a little bit. Seller. Permanently. We all have been talking about the Sanctuary World Multipurpose Grant Initiative Foundation, but I don't want to believe that what you want is just to get your fund from there, and the reputation of this initiative, this foundation, is completely damaged. They're working things to see that things are in order. International donors must view such a situation as an example of financial mismanagement, and that will lead to restrictions or bans on future assistances. Definitely. I believe you wouldn't want that to happen. Fourthly, the financial implications for beneficiaries, you now that is listening to me. Without proper documentation, financial regulators may freeze bank accounts that is linked to the disbursement. And what this means is that even after funds are transferred, beneficiaries may not be able to access them due to legal concerns. Did you know that? Now, in extreme cases, recipients of improperly disbursed funds might be required to return the money. And this will lead to financial hardship and confusion among those who had already made plans based on receiving the funds. You've gone to price a house in Asokoro. You priced another one in Maitama just because of what is coming. And finally, you were asked to return the money that you collected. And you've already made some legal commitments to that. You've started spending the money and you were asked to return the fund. Why? Because proper documentations were not in alignment. How do you deal with that? That is more shameful than you could ever expect. Now, regulatory intervention and investigations. If the government or the donor agency suspect any form of irregularity in the disbursement process, they may launch an investigation. Such investigations could delay the grant even further, as all transactions will need to be scrutinized to ensure that no fraudulent activity has taken place. Don't forget, this money is not yours until it enters your account. And if it enters your account without proper legalities involved, you might be asked to refund. Did you see how serious this matter is? Now, depending on the findings, the grant could be completely revoked, meaning the funds would never be disbursed at all. So why waiting for Ken Nwakama's official statement is important. Why it is very important and why we have to wait patiently, it is because many individuals and grant handlers have spoken about this disbursement, but their words have not materialized into actions. This has led to frustration. This has led into doubt, and in some cases, misinformation spreading about the status of the grant. But however, there is one key factor to remember. Ken Nwakama, Apostle Ken Nwakama, the true grant handler, has not spoken yet. This silence is not a sign of failure or inaction. I want you to know that. It is a strategic pause to ensure that all requirements are met and that the funds can be released properly without legal or financial complications. Once he speaks, it would be a confirmation that the fund is truly ready to flow into several accounts. Why his voice matters. There have been many imitators, individuals who are claiming to have inside information, but they do not hold the authority to make disbursement happen. Waiting for the real voice of the county director, Apostle Professor Ken Nwakama, would ensure that the information we receive is authentic, it is credible, and is also backed by action. So when he finally speaks, it will not be empty promises. It will be the final assurance that the process is complete and disbursement is imminent. Silence is golden for now. Right now, there is silence. And while it may be frustrating, it is necessary. The disbursement process is delicate and must be handled carefully to avoid the serious consequences mentioned earlier, that was said earlier in this submission. Breaking the silence too soon could also cause panic. It could cause confusion or false expectations. Instead, it is better to wait until everything is in place. And when the moment finally arrives, there will be no more silence. There will be no more delays. I want to encourage you lastly. Stay strong. Stay hopeful. The journey has taken time without doubt. Many people are tired of waiting. But history has shown us that every long wait has an end. And this particular wait will end with alerts in our bank accounts. Do not lose hope. We are closer than ever before. Stay strong and healthy. Your financial breakthrough is near. Your health is important to be able to enjoy what is coming for you. Keep believing, because when the silence is broken, it will not be with complaints, it will be with celebration and joy. Disbursement is here with us, and once the process is completed and correctly done, there would be no going back anymore. Stay patient, because the time for rejoicing is very close. It is your season, and once that season comes, there must be seed, there must be fruit on that tree. If you are the one I'm talking to, shout amen, because your moment is here. Shout hallelujah. We will not be on this couch forever. We will soon end cycle on it, jubilating and praising God. This is Prince's Seat. If you are new here, subscribe, hit the bell, so that we can carry on together with this in faith, purpose, confidence, and achievement. We love you. We so love you and cherish you. Have a nice day ahead. And bye for now.